Chapter 1188, Thick-Skinned. Summon his messenger. As judgment of the Tarot Club, as a member of MI9, Zio understood what a messenger meant. Furthermore, she knew that the middle ranks of the numinous episcopate widely used messengers. Before she could ask for more details, she saw Fours walk towards the guest room on the first floor with her eyes vacant and footsteps listless. She said with an ethereal voice, "Let me sleep for a while. We can talk later." She slept all the way till the next morning, waking up thanks to the aroma of meat. Daisy pie. Fours rubbed her eyes and walked out of the room. She saw that the table was already filled with food. Yes, Zio came out of the bathroom. The one from the corner of the street, it's not bad. Fours enthusiastically acknowledged and sat beside the dining table. She quickly picked up the daisy pie and stuffed it into her mouth. After finishing one, she drank a mouthful of sweet iced tea and sighed in satisfaction. This is life. Oh no, I forgot to brush my teeth. After she was done washing up, she finally regained her ability to think. She looked at Zio in puzzlement and said, "Did MI9 not have any suspicions about how you secretly became a judge?" "They thought it was the remuneration that motivated me back then." Zio informed her of what she had learned. Fours stroked her hair and said with a smile, "That's true. Let them ask the Church of Evernight." She covered her mouth and yawned. "I'm going to summon that messenger." After this period of recording, the way she addressed Klein had changed from Jayaman Sparrow and Mr. World to that person. On the one hand, it was a form of respect, and on the other hand, she was afraid that someone would eavesdrop. Upon hearing her friend's words, Zio looked around and asked in confusion, "Aren't you going to set up the ritual?" She remembered that summoning a messenger required a ritual. "That's only one of the methods. That person got me to use another method." Fours glanced at her clothes and realized that her clothes were all wrinkled since she hadn't had the time to change her clothes last night. Upon realizing that she would be meeting the messenger later, she decided to pay attention to her image. She hurriedly returned to the bedroom on the second floor and changed into a beige dress with frilly designs. After preparing herself, she raised her right hand in front of Zio, and she grabbed at it as if she wanted to pull something out of the air. In her eyes, an illusory book took form. It quickly flipped and stopped at one of the pages. In the next second, her arm sank and a figure emerged from the void. This was Jayaman Sparrow, who was wearing a half-top hat and a black coat. He had a cold expression and an unyielding air, but his eyes appeared somewhat dull. "I succeeded. This is just my second attempt. I've only tried it once yesterday and failed." Forrest's eyes widened, as though they wanted to take in more light, so as to see more clearly. She knew that this was the historical void projection she had summoned, so she wasn't too nervous. Instead, she held her breath and looked warily at Jayaman Sparrow's projection. She couldn't tell if he was real or fake. She still remembered the combat achievements of this crazy adventurer. Fours has actually summoned Jayaman Sparrow. Shouldn't it be his messenger? Would Jayaman Sparrow still be able to summon something? Questions popped up in Zio's mind. Just as Fours was unsure of what to do next, Jayaman Sparrow's eyes darted around slightly as his gaze instantly turned focused. He no longer had a rigid and vacant look, as though he was alive. Following that, he took out an exquisite, silvery harmonica and blew it. No sound came out of it, but the surroundings instantly turned cold as a biting wind stirred. Then, a woman dressed in a dark and complicated long dress with 4 blonde hair and red eyes in her hands walked out of the void. Her 8 eyes looked at Jayaman Sparrow. Jayaman Sparrow nodded slightly and pointed at Fours. "This lady needs to set up 4 special coordinates deep in the spirit world. Please help her." "All right," one of the heads of Rionet Tynecare said as it moved up and down. Jayaman Sparrow didn't speak further. As he approached the window, he made the glove on his left hand become transparent. His figure quickly disappeared as he teleported out of the house. He left just like that. The historical void projection I summoned left just like that. Force stared with her mouth slightly open, as though she was experiencing a comical play. According to her understanding, the thing she summoned should be under her control. How could it leave after giving some instructions? Could it be that the historical void projection has the same personality as the actual person? No, it's as if Jayaman Sparrow himself had descended. Fors glanced at Zio and realized that she was just as confused as she was. At that moment, Fors suddenly shivered, as though an extremely terrifying creature was glaring at her. She subconsciously turned her head and realized that Jayaman Sparrow's messenger was looking at her with 8 red eyes, carefully observing her. As terrifying as Jayaman Sparrow. Fors forced a smile and said, "Sorry to trouble you." At this moment, Rionette Tinker's 4 blonde, red-eyed heads spoke one after another. "Need to pay 800 gold coins. There's still a fee." Fors turned agape once again, at a loss for a response. After a few seconds, her thoughts suddenly became active as she began to calculate her savings. After loaning £2,400 to Zio, I still have £780 left. My expenses recently have been quite high, but the royalties from my past novels are still being credited. Adding my other income and the £300 Zio returned me, I have a total of £1,258. That's enough. Fors immediately agreed, but she immediately discovered a problem. Gold coins, all of them. Rionette Tinker's forehead shook slightly. Yes, you can. Oh. As expected, all of them need to be gold coins. I remember that Mr. World has been trying to gather gold coins and exchange for gold coins for quite some time before. It was to pay this messenger. The relationship between him and his messenger is really complicated. Mr. World should still have quite a few gold coins. I'll try to exchange 800 gold coins from him later. Fors secretly heaved a sigh of relief and said, "All right." After agreeing, Fors saw the headless messenger raise one of the heads in her hand to bite down on her clothes near her shoulder. The surrounding colors became saturated and brighter. The reds became redder, the blacks became blacker, and the whites became whiter. In such a manner, Fors was led by Rionette Tinker through similar scenes that she had no way of getting her bearings right. It didn't take long before she arrived at the spot where there was a faint fog. In the depths of the fog, one eye after another seemed to look over, but they quickly shrank back. When Fors summoned Jayaman Sparrow's projection from the historical void to Backland, he had immediately entered the fog of history and dashed all the way to a period before the first epoch. His consciousness came alive within the projection, reducing Fors' spirituality expenditure. This way, Klein had indirectly returned to Backland. This was also the reason why he had gotten Miss Magician to use such a complicated method to summon the messenger. As for the messenger summoned by the adventurer's harmonica, it was an independent existence. It didn't increase the burden on Fors' spirituality burden. Even if the historical void projection vanished, Rionette Tinker could still remain in the real world if she so wished. After a teleportation, Klein's figure appeared in a secluded alley near St. Samuel Cathedral. He then used his faceless powers to change his appearance and figure. During this process, although there were still a few pedestrians in the alley, they were affected by an illusion. They didn't notice a sudden companion appearing beside them. Right on the heels of that, Klein straightened his clothes, pressed down on his hat, and walked quickly to St. Samuel Cathedral. He found a seat to the side of the main prayer hall and sat down. After taking off his hat and chanting an honorific name, he sincerely drew a crimson moon on his chest. Then, he clasped his hands together, closed his eyes, and prayed softly to the Evernight goddess. "I'm currently searching for traces of the dark demonic wolves, past to grasp his exact condition." At this point, he recalled that the dark demonic wolf might have been a former colleague of the Evernight goddess. They likely knew plenty about each other, as he quickly added, "I wonder if you can give me some hints." He didn't wait for a response. Instead, he maintained a calm attitude and continued, "After this matter is completed, I plan on heading all the way east to see if I can reach the Western continent and see what state that place is in. I'll take this opportunity to escape Ammon's pursuit and find other possibilities." After praying, he tapped his chest 4 times in a clockwise fashion and whispered, "Praise the Lady." Just as he finished speaking, a dark night sky with countless stars suddenly appeared in front of him. A message unknowingly appeared in his mind. It was information regarding Black Demonic Wolf, Cotter. Klein was stunned for a moment. Only when the starry sky before him completely disappeared did he return to his senses. He sincerely praised the goddess once again. After leaving St. Samuel Cathedral, he used creeping hunger and another teleportation to arrive near the Holy Wind Cathedral located in Sherwood Borough. He wanted to pray to the Lord of Storms. He looked up at the towering steeple and felt some momentary hesitation. He really wasn't sure if he should enter the headquarters of the Church of the Lord of Storms in Backland. I'm just a historical void projection. There's nothing to be afraid about. I won't suffer any losses from praying, but what if the Lord of Storms hears about the Ammon situation and decides to bestow 032 to me? That way, I won't have to risk hunting the dark demonic wolf. A person should always be hopeful. After some thought, he finally made up his mind. He carefully raised his hand and summoned Inuni, the one who had yet to be parasitized by Ammon, from the historical void to walk into the Holy Wind Cathedral in his own form. A minute or two later, a dark cloud suddenly appeared above Backland. There seemed to be a flash of silver lightning in the Holy Wind Cathedral, but no one noticed it.